Good evening. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Eddie. If this is your first time here, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to let me know that you stopped by to hang out with me. And as always, I greatly appreciate it anytime you stop by and hang out with me. Now, we have been going on in this series regarding the trash ass job market. So, as someone who actually is in said trash market, I'm going to go ahead and play some clips from some other people who are in the job market to highlight their experiences because I know I cannot be alone in this, right? Sometimes I think I'm going a little bit crazy with this job search. So apparently, I'm not alone because there are a lot of people out here who are sharing their experiences. So we're going to go ahead and highlight some of their experiences and some of their struggles in the job market because I know that you guys, like me, can relate to it. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the content. And as always, I'm going to go ahead and play the videos. I'm going to get my commentary on it as well. And then you guys can also share some of your experiences down in the comments. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy the content.
This interview. And I always like to ask the question of, hey, is there anything that we discussed today or that you saw on my resume that may instill doubt in me excelling in this role? And that gives the interviewer time to really think and reflect on my resume and our conversation and base like how it went, and for them to ask any last minute questions that may instill a little bit of doubt in me to be able to excel in that role. And hopefully by them asking that question, I'm able to answer it and help them feel more secure of me doing well in this role, right? So I asked that question at the end of every single interview, and this time I asked the question today, and the girl goes, I think the only thing that really has me a little bit doubtful about you excelling in this role is really the fact that you don't really have a lot of e-commerce experience. I mean, you said a few, but like not as much compared to the other candidates that I have interviewed for. And I know the team is really, really looking for that. And a lot of the candidates have way more experience and are more heavy hitters in that area. But I can definitely tell you're super passionate about paid media. You love marketing and you are so knowledgeable and you're a super smart girl. And that definitely comes off in our conversation that we had today. But like I said, that is really the only thing that I really have a little bit doubt in, that maybe the team will be willing or lenient to like look by or like not really pay attention to. But I don't really know. Just compared to the other candidates, I don't really know if you hold up in that standpoint. What? First of all, nowhere in my resume does it say I have e-commerce experience. So let's just start there. Nowhere on that job application did I say or check a box that I had e-commerce experience. Nowhere on the actual job description does it say you need e-commerce experience. Paid media is paid media, okay? Like, that's just that. So the fact that you just gave that and then just told me that, like, yeah, all the other candidates that I've interviewed and that I'm about to get on an interview with after your call have significantly way more experience than you in e-commerce. And that's really what we're looking for. But yeah, we'll let you know. Why are you wasting my time then? If you know you're looking for someone in e-commerce and has e-commerce experience, and nowhere on my resume did I put e-commerce experience, nowhere on my application that I did e-commerce experience, nowhere in my screening questions did I add e-commerce experience, nowhere says e-commerce experience. And now you're expecting me to have e-commerce experience? Like, you're just wasting my time. And at this point, I literally got off the interview and said, okay, thank you for your time. Got off the interview and literally said, yeah, this isn't gonna work. Like, I already knew like that wasn't the job or that wasn't the company for me because I did not say anything about e-commerce experience. And here's the thing. This is not my first time running into something like this. Like, believe it or not, it isn't. Like, there's so many interviews that I have gotten or did, and every single time I ask that question, people always come back with something that I have never even stated on my resume, that's not even on my LinkedIn profile, that's not even on the job description, that isn't even, I don't even know where they're pulling this information from. So it just kind of blows my mind. I'm just like, if you want e-commerce experience, that's 100% fine. You can have your e-commerce experience. I'm not saying that you can't, look for someone with e-commerce experience. But if that's heavily what your team is looking for to build out a certain team or fill a certain role that is missing on that team is e-commerce experience, why reach out to me if you know I don't have e-commerce experience? Do I have paid media experience? Yes. Do I feel like I'm well versed in paid media? Yes. But e-commerce, not so much. And I can admit that because that's not my expertise. I do not know that. So please stop wasting my time. Thank you.
Okay, so we talked about this in one of the other videos. I said this exact thing. Waste of time. Why are we wasting people's time? It's very demoralizing because here's the thing. when she was talking about it, before she even said it, I'm like, okay, if you wanted e-commerce experience, you should have first said that. Number two, if I didn't have e-commerce experience outlined on my resume, why are we even here in an interview setting? Because clearly I don't have what you're looking for. I did not outline that as a strength or as an experience on my resume. So why would you in any capacity think that I even had it to begin with, right? If you were looking for a specific type of marketing individual and e-commerce was that specific type and that's what you really, really wanted, stick to that because you already said you had candidates that outline that. So those candidates should have passed, the first round of interviews. I shouldn't even be here because clearly I don't have what you're looking for. So you're wasting my time. And I have experienced this as well. So I feel for her. I've experienced this where somebody's looking for something very specific that I never said that I had. And then all of a sudden I don't get the job, but it's like I was never going to get the job. I shouldn't even have gotten the interview because you're wasting my time at this point, and I hate that. I hate that for her, but it did happen to me, so I feel you that that's what they do.
10 times more difficult, and let's talk about why. Tens of thousands of federal employees are now being cut from the federal agencies they work for because of Elon's Doge department. This is a list from 2 days ago. There are actually more agencies that have been cut over the weekend, and the reasons are crazy, right? They're saying basically that they're low performers or they're just not needed anymore. Complete bullshit. I mean, we all know that, right? Like, these are tenured people who have been around for sometimes decades, and now they're being told, hey, you're not adding value to this agency anymore, which is ridiculous. Essentially, these super qualified people who've been around for a long time and have been dumped onto the market. This just makes it even more competitive. Now you're going up against people who are extremely well respected in their field. Sometimes they're like world leaders in their field. It's all over LinkedIn, people just sharing their stories of how long they've been there, what they've been doing at these agencies. So it's kind of sad to see, to be honest, and kind of scary. So let me know what you guys think about this. It's kind of a crazy situation.
So, I mean, really nothing good is going to come of adding all these people to the job market. Like, we already know that it's hard. So, adding all these people from these like federal agencies, government agencies, these are people who have been in their roles because people in those types of roles don't move very often. Like, because a lot of those agencies still have really good benefits, like, pensions, which is like a thing of the past. If you have a pension, normally you stay at that job because most jobs now, even like big corporations, do not give pensions anymore. That stopped a long time ago. So what good is all these people being added to the market going to do for anybody? It's just going to make it way more competitive. And a lot of these people have long histories and long time at the job, and they have a lot of experience. So trying to overcompensate for that, if you don't have that, it's going to be really, really tough. It's very hard to go up against people who have a lot more experience than you do, especially if you're fresh out of college, when you don't really have any real working experience. You just have like your educational background. So it's just going to make it more tough, and I think it really sucks.
We all know that the job market is terrible right now. We all know it. I know that there's a bunch of people, I know a bunch of people in person that are struggling to find a job that we are qualified for and are willing to pay what we deserve. I cannot find a job that pays me more than being a barista. And I think that's insane because I have a degree, I have qualifications and skills that are beneficial to other people, and I just cannot find a job. And this goes to anyone who is struggling to find a job right now. Just because we are having a hard time finding one doesn't mean we're not qualified for one. And I just need you to remember to take a deep breath. And this is advice to myself too, but take a deep breath, be patient, and we will find what we deserve. It's rough out there. The job market just sucks. So don't give up hope. Keep going. You are qualified and you deserve to find a job that you enjoy. Good luck out there.
There seems to be like a lot of gaslighting when it comes to people who already have jobs and who don't really believe that we are looking for jobs. Sometimes you hear things like, oh, you're just not looking hard enough, or you're just being too picky, or your resume isn't really updated, or there's just a whole slew of things people say when you tell them, hey, I can't find a job. But a lot of it is kind of like gaslighting because, first of all, you don't really know what my resume looks like. You don't know how many job applications I filled out. You don't know how I perform on interviews, which I've already admitted I'm not that great at interviews. But I hate interviews. I just think interviews are a big lying fest where you have to just who can lie the best. That's what I think of interviews, but that's beside the point. But like she said, rejection has a way of making you feel like you're not qualified. Because when you get rejected so many times, you do start to think it's just you. And that's why we're doing this series, because I want people to know that it's not just you, it's all of us. So that's why this series is so important, because we don't need to be made to feel like we're just rejects, because we get rejections after rejections after rejections in our emails, sometimes ghosted, right? And then the other thing she talked about was pay. Now, a lot of jobs now paid more before the pandemic than they pay now, because again, they realize that I have all these applicants and I don't have to pay you top dollar, right? Because there's more applicants than jobs. So pay is a big issue, because if you even get an offer, a lot of times it's a lot less than what you thought it was going to be, because people have told us, hey, this type of profession pays this, or it pays this because that's what this person's getting paid. But now they're trying to start people off so much lower. And sometimes they're even getting rid of people and hiring for the exact same position and starting them off $20,000 less than the person who left the position or got terminated, whatever. So pay is a really big issue, because companies now just feel like they don't have to pay you what you're worth. And like she talked about her skills and her degree. Sometimes a degree does not equal a job. We talked about that before too.
In their cars or at their home, how they are getting either laid off or that they can't find a job. And in the year of 2025, you must now know that the only way to get a job is through nepotism and or deep connections. Companies larger than your local McDonald's will not allow you to show up in person and give them a firm handshake and hand them your resume. And they haven't since about pre-COVID. Additionally, LinkedIn and Indeed are just honeypots for data mining. You cannot find an actual job on there 8 out of 10 times. And let's also add that a recent article came out from Politico stating that unemployment is actually at 24%. That 4% unemployment that's been floating around for the past year is actually incorporating people who are working part-time and people who are making poverty wages, which is about $25,000 a year. So if you take out the people who are not able to subsist off of that income, part-timers and poverty wages, anyone who's actually making a full-time, that is at a 24% unemployment rate. 1 in 4 people don't have a job. So if you are trying to find a job right now, likelihood is you're going to need some nepotism or some connections.
Here's the thing about the unemployment number. I've been saying that number is fake. I think it's really fake, because, and this isn't new information, because they don't include people who were looking for a job and have given up looking for a job. Those people are no longer counted in the unemployment number. And I think that when you're unemployed for a certain amount of time, they automatically exclude those people as well, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. So the unemployment number is not as accurate as people like to make it seem. And of course, it's inaccurate to favor an unemployment number. So basically, it's made to seem like unemployment is lower than what it really is. But when you go and you hear people's experiences, like we've been talking about, you realize that it's not 4%, right? Because how do we have all these bad stories about people finding jobs and not finding jobs, right? The unemployment number has to be higher than that, because these aren't the same people over and over complaining. These are all these people with all these bad experiences. And here's the thing about Indeed. I don't really like Indeed, because you can fill out 20, 30, 40, 50 applications and never hear a peep from these employers. If I do find a job on Indeed and I decide to apply for it, I normally will go to that company's website and see if the job really is there. And if it is there, I will apply for it. But a lot of times, if you go to the company's website and try to find that same job, a lot of times it's not there. So this could be a job that either got filled a long time ago and is still listed on Indeed, or it might just be a fake job, whatever the case is. But I've come across a lot of instances where the job on Indeed is not on the company's website. And if I was to find a job on Indeed that I really was interested in, my recommendation is to go apply on the company's website, because really, we don't really know what happens after we submit it through Indeed, right? Like they say, hey, you get a confirmation that it got submitted. We all get that. But how do we really know it got submitted, right? Because that email is usually from Indeed. It's not usually from the company. So I always apply directly on the company's website. If I do use Indeed, it's just to find the job, and then I'll go to the company's website to actually do my application if it's actually really there. So that's my recommendation. These stories are so telling about what the job market really is, and that's why I am talking about it, because I want you guys to know that it is tough out there. And like the recommendation I just gave, don't just apply through Indeed. Go to their website and apply directly with the company for a better shot. I just don't think that applying for Indeed will really get you seen. It is a lot harder to get seen now just in general, but we don't need one more barrier right there in front of us, or like a middleman that may not actually, push our application in like we think that it is. So I hope you guys are having a good night. I may do another series like this. So I do want you guys to keep up the good fight. Don't give up. Fight for what you deserve. I know a lot of you guys do have, quality skills, a quality educational background. So don't let these rejections make you feel like a reject, because you're not a reject. You're going to find something eventually. Just make sure you keep looking, stay persistent, follow up if you can. And I hope you guys have a good night. Peace.